It's Brandon Lewis here, your favorite reporter who's conservative in Tennessee, bringing you the stories that the mainstream media never will, like Republican State Representative Jeremy Faison continuing to stand by his avid support for taxpayer-funded illegal alien education. It only cost us $1 billion. What's that between friends? ACLU challenges an ICE detention center being set up in Mason. There's a potential Supreme Court review that could reinstate Tennessee's ban on same-sex marriage. Murfreesboro Better Way to Give campaign is trying to reduce panhandling. Closed-circuit transmission to Tim Kelly. You might follow suit. Tennessee's new Right to Try 2.0 law, which I'm in support of. And we've lost in Tennessee 1.2 million acres of farmland, and one of the biggest culprits is solar. Dark Money Group goes after conservative candidate Jody Barrett in congressional race. No surprise there. Scrubbed and redubbed, baby. Governor Lee's diversity business office gets a makeover. Different name, same people. I'm sure we will see monumental changes. I am Brandon Lewis with the 10-Con Big 7 of the Tennessee Conservative News, the state's largest and only conservative news alternative, where a $1,000 ad will not change our editorial. If you want to get on our list, text the word news to 423-205-5600. That's 423-205-5600, or visit TennesseeConservativeNews.com. First story, old Jeremy Faison, right in alignment with his district. It's amazing. As illegal immigration remains one of the top issues for Tennessee Republican voters, Representative Jeremy Faison continues to stand in opposition to legislation that could stop taxpayer-funded illegal alien education. Carried by House Majority Leader William Lamberth and Senator Bo Watson, there was a bill that essentially just said LEAs could charge illegal aliens tuition. Makes sense. As I have said before, and I tell this story often, my niece was going to school for like 3 months, and her mom's like, she's not learning anything. And so she goes and has a parent-teacher conference in which the teacher says, we got 25 kids in here that do not speak English as their first language, and it is just holding the class back. It's all I can do to communicate with them. I'm sorry, but my hands are tied. So it's amazing to me. There's an old quote, I think it's in War and Peace, and it said, my father was a sentimental man, and like all sentimental men, he was cruel. And so I look at these RINOs and I think, how cruel are you to Tennessee taxpayers and the native citizens in Tennessee? And is that not your first obligation? Apparently not. And so the whole point of this is to challenge Plier versus Doe, so that we can turn things around. And all the time you hear RINOs say, well, that's the law of the land. That's the law of the land. That's what they said with Roe v. Wade until the law was challenged. So we've got to start somewhere. This is as good as any place. And he said that this bill was a political stunt. He said that he was a big, fat no on it. Well, at least he got it half right. He is big and fat, and I guess he's a no as well. And so it is crazy to me. I mean, we've polled this, man. It's going to be like 85% against Jeremy Faison on this particular issue in his district. I know it. I'd be willing to make a $2,000 or $3,000 bet that it'd be right in that range if he polled his constituents. Mr. Faison, if you want to take me up on that, we could give it to your charity of choice or my charity of choice. Let's make it $3,000. That's not a lot of money. And it's amazing. I don't see how we keep these people in office with leaders like this. Who needs Democrats, right? So I would like to ask a favor of you. Sometimes we can't get answers out of lawmakers. Like we send him emails, call him, hey, where do you stand on this issue? Look at this poll. Does it change your mind? No response. So would you please email Jeremy Faison and just ask him where his stance is on these issues? If we can get 15, 20 of you to email him, even if you're not in his district, and see what his stance is, and if you get a reply from him, will you forward it to me? Because he ain't talking to us. Next story, American Civil Liberties Union. It's amazing. They actually used to mainly work on free speech and that everything should be equal. Now it's a completely different organization that's been hijacked by the left. They are challenging the outcome of a vote in Mason that would enter the city into a detention facility agreement with ICE. The organization is demanding that Mason leadership halt the contract's execution. The town of Mason's board, mayor and aldermen approved the contract with private prison corporation CoreCivic to reopen a West Tennessee detention facility as an immigration detention facility, voting 4-1 with 2 abstentions. The town's separate but related contract with ICE received 3 A's, 2 no's, and 2 abstentions. So The questions over the vote surfaced immediately after the CAT meeting concluded. Some officials reported the vote was successful and approved it, claiming the abstentions did not count toward the total vote, which they don't. It passed by a simple majority. That's how it works. But the ACLU says this is an error. According to the town's charter, the vote should have been counted based on members present. Thus, it would need 4 votes out of 7 votes, etc. So if you're in Mason, if you know folks in Mason, work on these abstentions, work on these people that are no votes, and see if you can get it across the finish line. Next story. Potential Supreme Court review could reinstate Tennessee's ban on same-sex marriage. If the Supreme Court opts to take the review of the 2015 decision to allow same-sex marriages across the country, Tennessee would ultimately see its ban on same-sex marriage reinstated. Voters within the state approved a ban on same-sex marriage in 2026 due to 2015 case of Oberfell versus Hodges. The Constitution ban became unenforceable, but is still a part of the Tennessee Constitution. One day after the 2015 ruling, the county clerk of Rowan County in North Carolina refused to issue marriage licenses. She ultimately spent 5 days in jail, was ordered to pay in 2023 hundreds of thousands of dollars toward legal fees. So she's asking the Supreme Court to look at the case. So we shall see what happens. If the Supreme Court has not yet announced that it will take on the case, but some state legislators look forward to it. Gino Bolso is one of those, noting Obergefell was an egregiously wrong decision. Next story. A Better Way to Give campaign. Murfreesboro New Better Way to Give campaign is asking residents to consider the most effective ways to make a positive change instead of giving directly to panhandlers. City residents may have noticed that there are new signs popping up this week around Murfreesboro downtown saying, "Say no to panhandling, closed circuit transmission." Again, to Tim Kelly, clean up the scenic city you were left before it turns into a trashy city. It's already a trashy city in many places. It does not help business. It does not help tourism. It does not help crime. It helps no one. Let's get this fixed. And so we have all kinds of ordinances in the city that are never enforced. We've got state ordinances along thoroughfares and state highways and state roads, never enforced. I'm telling you, this is awful. I'll give you some of my stories. Number one, I'm driving down the road one night on Ashland Terrace, and there's some drunk panhandler, and I about murdered him. He's wearing black. I couldn't see him. I mean, they walk in and out of traffic. They dance in the road. I mean, it's going to either kill the panhandler, a pedestrian, the person in the car, or all three of the above. Number two, it's not safe. They're on drugs. They break into houses. They rummage through your trash cans. I know this firsthand from living in Chattanooga. And when you bring people to your house and you got to stop by 3 separate places, it's a mess. And in our neighborhood, we did a little investigating, and we found that the same 3 or 4 people that panhandled lived right off the terrace in a very nice neighborhood, drove a very nice car, and they left from the panhandling place, kid you not, took off a cast, took off some crutches, put them in the back of the car, went to the liquor store, because I used to go to the same liquor store. This is not a group of people that are just down on their luck, that are trying to get a job. These are folks that do not care about your neighborhood, do not care about the environment. They're freeloaders. They're bums. They're what they used to be called. They're hobos. And there used to be laws against doing this back when the Protestant work ethic was alive and well, and our culture was more intact in America, and I think we need to get back to it. Tennessee's new Right to Try 2.0 law, Individualized Investigational Treatment Act, went into effect in July the 1st. Bo Watson, a physical therapist at Park Ridge Medical Center, pushed this. And he's calling it Right to Try 2.0, gives patients with terminal and debilitating illnesses and their physicians the ability to legally seek therapies unapproved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. I don't trust anybody at that organization. The Food and Drug Administration has approved deadly drugs. They approve all kinds of awful ingredients and things that are killing our nation. It's really not even the Food and Drug Administration. They ought to call it the Food and Drug Corporation Administration, because these people are bought and paid for. The politicians are bought. The incestuous relationships between these large manufacturers and the lobbyists and everybody else. And the thing that suffers is America's health. Representative Jody Barrett, Monty Fritz, Michelle Renaud, Democrat Representatives Vincent Dixie, Gloria Johnson, and Democrat Heidi Campbell voted against the bill. The legislation signed into law by Bill Lee. I wonder why they voted against it. I would be curious to know. Proponents of the new law say it puts Tennessee at the forefront of innovation. I was reading anything that says why people would vote against it. Guess it didn't make it into the article. We'll find out next time. Guys, we had a wonderful fundraiser just full of amazing people. It was like so heartwarming at the Tellico Village. Thank you to Rick and Lori and everyone in that club for just being so warm and welcoming to us. We appreciate it. We raised, I don't know, $14,000, $15,000, right? Like we're swimming in it over here, which basically just helps us cover our expenses for about a month and a half. I mean, there you have it. And actually not even a month and a half, probably like a month and a quarter. But we needed it, right? We're still down 3%. So if you will go to TennesseeConservativeNews.com/support, if you give $50 or more or a recurring donation, which we desperately need, guys, could you imagine trying to budget your household budget if you never knew how much money was coming in? That'd be a hard place to be in. Well, that's the place I've lived in since I started this thing to undo all the COVID crap that Republicans did to us in this state. And so we'll send you a mug. We'll send you a koozie. We'll send you some bumper stickers and a directory. But mainly, we like people to give for the mission, right? So please to go to TennesseeConservativeNews.com/support. You can mail your checks, and a lot of people do. And I feel bad when I open up the envelopes because it's the same freaking handful of people while everybody else sits on their butt. Conservative hell. That's not me saying I'm a runner. Do you ever run? No. But I like to talk about running and watch TV shows about running, but I don't run. Well, you're not a runner. I'm a conservative. Do you ever give to conservative causes? No. You ever give any time to conservative causes other than consuming social media or TV? No. Then you're not a conservative. Conservatism is something you do. It is not something you are or believe. Next story, Tennessee has lost more than 1.2 million acres of farmland in the last 30 years. Guess what? The U.S. Department of Agriculture is no longer going to be subsidizing large-scale solar projects placed on farmland. Thank goodness. If you have to subsidize something, it does not work. It doesn't work. If you have to subsidize a business, it ain't turning a profit, right? Don't subsidize things. Let the market do what the market does. Further, what an eyesore. What a mess that's going to be to clean up when those things fall apart. I mean, acre after acre after acre of solar panel, like that's going to be terrible for the environment. The groundwater, I don't even know how you dispose of that toxic crap. Roughly 47% of utility-scale solar projects are located on farmland as of 2025. Solar panels in America farmland have increased by 50% since 2012. It's crazy with this stuff. And Tennessee will particularly feel the impact of the changes because it's lost 1.2 million acres of farmland over the last 30 years. So I hope they can get farms back to being what farms are. Instead of subsidized left-wing environmental bullcrap that costs us money and also hurts the environment. I mean, it's just not, it doesn't make sense to me. Dark Money Group goes after conservative candidate Jody Barrett. A pro-private school voucher dark money group called School Freedom Fund spent almost $20,000 in early August to oppose Jody Barrett, who's very conservative. I like him. I like Gino in that race. Don't like Lee Reeves. Ted, what's his face, used to be a government employee, never been tested. I don't like him either as a candidate. These two gentlemen, Gino and Jody, have been tested, have stood up to leadership, and have worked. The spending paid off and the legislation narrowly passed because last year the School Freedom Fund spent more than $3.1 million in state legislative races to boost candidates and to work against conservative candidates. Organizations like AFP and what's the other one? I'll think about it here in a minute. Not conservative organizations went after conservative candidates because they didn't want to spend $20,000 giving away a $7,000 scholarship. So misleading, universal school choice. I hate that crap. Just call something what it is. Tell people what it actually is. Tell people about the entire cost. Don't lie to people. The moment you start sending out postcards and stuff that are misinforming people, misleading things, that just tarnishes your brand. It just turns it into a pile of doo-doo in my eyes. And so I don't know why folks do this. You can win races and you can win elections and get bills across the finish line by telling the truth. But in politics, it's a currency of deception. Tennessee's election will fill an open seat left by U.S. Mark Green is set for October 7th. Man, that's coming up soon. Another candidate for the post, Republican State Representative Lee Reeves, benefited the tune of $787,000 spent by the School Freedom Fund. He's bought and paid for by special corporate interests. When you see the majority of someone's money coming from special interests and not from the district, that's a surefire sign you shouldn't vote for them. I don't want to read the rest of it. Last one, scrubbed and redubbed, baby. Governor Lee's diversity business office gets a makeover. Imagine passing a law to dismantle something you started because your heart was really there to begin with. Governor Lee's office has rebranded its version of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Department to come into compliance with a new state law signed by his own hand. Let's set up this racism department, Bill. Okay, Bill, let's set up the racism department. Hey, Bill, there seems to be some political winds blowing. Well, Bill, let's really get out in front of it and stop the racism department that we put in place in the beginning. That is a great idea, Bill. Genius. Following the passage of this, the office's website has now been called something different. What are they calling it? Let me look here. Oh, what's it down here? I'll look for it here. It doesn't matter. GoDBE, another acronym. And so, small and underutilized for-profit business enterprises. The full name of the office was removed and replaced, etc. Around that time of the name change, staff titles were also overhauled. The diversity team lead became team lead, whatever. GoDBE program director Kim Henry previously served as the coordinator for the Tennessee Department's General Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Belonging Council. So let me get this straight, Bill. You got the same people with the same views, the same racist views, and because you changed the name of the department with all the people that have the same core values, now it's going to be completely different? I bet. It'd be like if you took a company full of people that gave terrible customer service, hated their customers, had some kind of crazy ideology. Then you sign a law that says, we're getting rid of all that. And all you do is just change the name of the company, change the name of the job position titles, keep all the same people, and just keep trucking along. That's politics in Tennessee, baby. That's what goes for conservatism. Just really charging hard. Bill Lee on his way out the door. Thank God it couldn't happen sooner. Guys, what's been going on? I did not do the Big Seven last week because sometimes on Yaffe, I cover all the good stories. This week, because there was a non-shooting incident with not a shooter at UTC, which the left was ready to pounce on the gun control argument, which they always do. Never let a catastrophe go to waste. Never overstep an opportunity to take away somebody's constitutional rights because one person out of a billion, does something stupid with their freedoms. But at any rate, I had to cut it short. So I didn't get to cover some of those stories. So I thought, and sometimes during the summer, the stories it's just not much news. And I'm like, these are awful stories. I don't even feel like reading them. So I apologize for missing. So what's been going on with OBL? I don't remember. I was at the lake last weekend with some friends, hurt my neck on a tube. I love the LeBlanc family. They're some of my dearest friends, but every time I hang out with them, I hurt myself, and it's my own fault. I'm getting old, and I keep trying to do things that I used to be able to do when I was young, and I'm like, the list of things I'm no longer going to do just keeps getting longer, injury after injury. And so I had a great time off Lake Burton, and this weekend I'm going to meet one of my staff members for dinner tonight, who's in town with her son and his wife, and that should be a good time. One thing that folks don't know about me is I have a lot of friends that are liberal. You wouldn't think that. I have staff members that are liberal, Democrats. I don't think politics is like the end-all, be-all of life. And if somebody's got slightly different values from me, we can still work together. I've always felt like that. And even when I, give people grief as Republicans, if they came to my house, I'd feed them a steak dinner and be nice, but I would very pointedly say, I don't think this is the best policy, which is what I always try to do, is that politicians, whenever you criticize their decisions and you make it public, they take personal offense. They don't take policy offense. It's just the nature of the beast. What's going on tomorrow? We are celebrating Ruby Doobie, my 7-year-old's birthday. It was actually on Monday. We have been celebrating all week long. So we're going to have the family over. I'm going to try to go to the Signal Mountain Opry. If you're on Signal Mountain, you should too. I'm hoping I can get over there in the evening for some good old-fashioned bluegrass and gospel music. And church on Sunday. What else do I have? I hope I can get to the gym Sunday. We typically go to church on Saturday nights, but I don't know if that's going to happen with the company over this weekend. We'll have a house full. Staying at the house, we will fill up all the garbage cans as we always do and just have a generally good time. So guys, what's going on with you? It's hot out here. I should have done this inside. I'm sweating. I'm going to try to go get a little workout in before we go eat dinner, if I can. It may be too late already. I'm getting this to Mr. Vaughn late today because sometimes my other company demands my attention because it pays the bills. It pays the bills. And so what pays the bills? It comes first. It has to. Right? I'll get myself in trouble if I don't. I could spend all day, every day working on the Tennessee Conservative and go flat broke. And I got to be careful that I don't do that because that's where my heart often is. And the things happen and like I got to jump on them to try to make a difference. And sometimes I make a difference and sometimes it seems like it's pointless. But we are not called to win. We're called to fight. Guys, I love you. Mean it. If you can help us out to get back to zero, we're still down like 3 or 4%, even after that Teleco Village fundraiser. It's better than the 30% we started off at the end of the year, or the beginning of the year, rather. So if you could chip in, hadn't chipped in for a while, mail your checks to P.O. Box 625, Signal Mountain, Tennessee, 37377, or go to TennesseeConservativeNews.com/support. Until next week, it's your little buddy, BL, signing out. Take care. Have a good weekend.